Okay, so welcome everybody to the May Area Members Roundtable. This is an initiative we've been running for a few months. Oh, sorry, let me start with the antitrust policy. So, as we're discussing various kind of businesses, we need to be wary of our antitrust policy. I won't read it out, but if you can take a look and make sure we adhere to it as we do with all of our conferences and committee meetings and things like that. So if you could please take a look at that, that will be great. So just a little bit of background, the idea of the round table is an opportunity to have a bit more interaction between the members. I tried to bring new members on and present at this meeting so they can talk about what they're up to and really, explaining their work and where they are, but also seeing if we can get a network of supporting companies and go to kind of market companies and things like that. So it's really about that networking and bringing everybody together. Also, by recording the calls, we can make them available, and we'll send out emails to the rest of the members. I've had, there were a few more people who said they were attending, so my apologies, it's not as many as I thought. But I know that a lot of them come back and said that they had some constraints because of AWE. But anyway, we'll have these recordings and we'll make sure we promote them. It's a real simple setup. Basically, it's we have 15 minutes a day for each company, talk about their company, what they're doing, and any kind of offer support. We are going to have different members each month, and the one in April we had 3 different members, and we've already mentioned that we're going to make it available on the portal. What we'll do is have an opportunity for some questions afterwards, so please, the people that are attending, feel free to ask questions. We won't go through the whole list of people attending because I'd like to get on and focus on the actual presenters themselves. So if we can start off, I'd like to introduce AR Evolution and Octavio, who is a startup member. Perhaps please, if I pass I'm going to pass over, make you a presenter. You'll have an opportunity then to present your slides and talk to us about some of the great work that I know you and your organization is up to. There we go.
Okay, thank you. Let me show the screen.
Hey. There we go. It's come in.
Okay. Can you see us?
Not quite yet. I can see a GoToMeeting.
It says here I'm already sharing. So.
Okay. Have you got multiple screens?
Yeah, I got multiple screens. Which one are you looking at?
We're looking at the one that just says the area roundtable, the kind of web-based one. You may need to.
Okay, yeah, can you see it now?
I am seeing what looks like, fantastic.
There you go.
There we go. Perfect. Okay, I'll hand it over to your good self. I'll go on mute and look forward to listening about the great work that you're up to. Over to you, Octavia.
Okay, great. Thank you for having us today. We are Evolution. We are an augmented reality solution company based in Mexico and mainly in Latin America. So what we are doing is we want to achieve a holistic approach in the way the factories manage and operate their infrastructure and the data. Because as of right now, you see how they are implementing solutions such as you guys, all the members of the area in Europe and the States mainly, but factories in Mexico and in Latin America are way behind in terms of technology. So what we are looking for is to fill up the gap so we can offer the same solutions to them, so we can have so they can be on the edge of the technology and on the way they operate. I borrowed something here from the Deloitte Digital Reality post. I think you are familiar with it. So we are focusing towards these verticals as well. We are on the maintenance and operations, production, design and development, the reporting and analytics, distribution and quality control of the factory, This is how we see we can bring value to the consumer goods industry specifically, because it is a huge sector in Latin America in general. So for this, we are offering three modules, because mainly, even before talking about Industry 4.0 and augmented reality solutions, we need to have a digital layer, because a lot of factories here in Mexico, they don't count with any kind of a system. Everything is mostly done on paper. So with our first digital suite, we prepare the factory, digitizing their assets and have it in all on the cloud for decision making. Basically, you could see it as an ERP niche available for Industry 4.0. After this, we can offer the other solution, which is our Industry 4.0 solution, which has modules such as quality assurance, operations, etc. And we have a separate module for training with virtual reality. So here we have the products I was mentioning right now, the inventory management, production, distribution. Like, this is kind of our roadmap right now. At the moment, we are working in these products. We have the inventory management in beta phase, which is already working with some factories in Mexico, which include fabric factories, crystal factories, pharmaceutics, and small factories. Then we have the quality assurance, which is being used by Grupo Bimbo Bakeries. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are the biggest bread manufacturer on the world. 5% of all the bread done is produced by them. So we are in their factories in the quality assurance side with computer vision and augmented reality. And on the maintenance and operations, we are making some kind of a proof of concepts with a company called Robatech, which has presence in 64 countries. They are doing the OMEs for how you say, the gluing technology to paste all the products from the consumer goods. I don't know, a cereal box, a cookie box, or something, where the things that they are used to glue it, they produce the machines, and we are offering this kind of augmented reality procedure to give the maintenance upon the machine itself. And the vehicle training, we are making also proof of concepts with DHL here in Mexico, to have like this kind of training in terms of how it could be done. And I mean, it is still a proof of concept. But the important thing here is that we look at an opportunity on the consumer goods sector, because it is way behind. And in the end, we are using these kind of technologies to gather the data, because that's the most important thing. As Peter Sondergaard said, the information is the oil of the 21st century. So we are using this as an input, so they can have all the information in a dashboard on the cloud, so they can have all the decision-making process. So that's where we are right now, what we are looking for in terms of the area, since we are the first company to be member in Latin America. We are very open to have partnerships with the rest of the members of the area, because we consider there's a good market opportunity in Latin America, and we have a lot of experience in the sector. We have already clients on it, and they are already asking us for more things that are kind of out of our scope, but I think that could be satisfied with the rest of the members of the area. So if you're considering in entering this market, we could help you a lot.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Has anybody got any questions for Octavia? I've got one for you. So, I was kind of interested where you say a lot of the organisations are still very paper based, and the first kind of step is the doing digitization. Can you talk a little bit more about the challenges of that, and how easy is it to move them to a digital kind of footprint? And are you doing that bit by bit, or is it a big bang, or just those kind of challenges around making companies more digital? It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, here the main problem is in terms of technology, right? A lot of people are not familiar with this technology, so we have to work as evangelizers, like to evangelize the market as well. So we have to take them from the learning process on how these can add value to their internal processes. So in the companies, there's a lot of way, like the way we operate right now is we make some kind of a demo or proof of concept, then you have a white paper or a use case that you can have so the stakeholders can see the added value. But the problem here is that most of the companies are kind of reluctant to share internal information, so we have to figure out all by ourselves in terms how we can add the value. So that brings friction to the process. That's what I would see as problems on the industry here.
Yes, thank you. And I think that's similar the world over, certainly with my conversations. Again, I'd like to offer the area's help in terms of connecting with enterprises that have gone through this journey and felt the pain and reached the benefits or have got the benefits. And I think the content.
Yeah, another thing I would like to point out is that there's a lot of complexity on having hardware here because a lot of the manufacturers of the AR headsets, they are not available for this region. Let's say the HoloLens, they don't ship to this part, so we have to like purchase them on the States and then bring them on like on our backpack or something. There are a lot of headsets that are not shipping here, so that's another thing that is stopping us right now from fully implementing an augmented reality platform for them.
Yeah, no, we've spoken about those challenges before, and that's very difficult, and again, something we'd like to help with. Okay, anybody else in listening would like to ask any more questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question. You mentioned the first step in the digitalization of these customers is about bringing in some sort of system. So I didn't get clear from the presentation. Is a system that you're actually developing? You mentioned it was a type of ERP, or are you using third parties for doing the implementation of these digital technologies?
No, it is a system we are developing here. So we are using open source software, but and some of our own technology. But the idea is to have like an kind of a niche ERP already available for augmented reality. Let's say in inventory management. The inventory management, we could provide all the maximum and minimum and the traceability with augmented reality when the products come in and out. But to have that, we need to start from the digital layer, right? Because a lot of companies, they don't have this. Indeed. So it's kind of a step by step. Yeah.
And then you also mentioned that on I think it was the second stage. Is it the second or the third when you bring in the augmented reality? Yeah, sorry, because I'm not seeing the presentation. I kind of. So you said that you were providing some services already for Bimbo, for example, and using augmented reality. Could you explain a bit more of what sort of, because that was for quality assurance, wasn't it, that application?
Yeah.
So, okay, so is it a type of a computer vision type of thing where you then do an overlay of augmented reality? I'm just trying to figure out what type of solution are you actually working on?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I cannot share the video with you because of NDA, but I can totally explain it to you. Let's say on the quality assurance process of the bakery, they have to have some procedures, right? Right now they are doing everything on paper. So with our alternative, you point the phone out, and then with a computer vision, you can pull out the information from the product. Let's say if they have the ideal dimensions, width, height, the color, and then we document everything on the cloud, and you put like an augmented reality layer as a reference for the workers so they can make the quality assurance process correctly. Because a lot of the time there's like these incidents, the human error, right? Like if they are not seeing properly the color or the dimensions or something, and in the end you have a quality assurance process which is not complete, and that brings like not so perfect estimations in terms of how your factory is implementing. What I mean is that right now they are making corrective procedures instead of preventive procedures. So the idea is that with this software, they can change to the preventive side.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about making implementation of Industry 4.0, I think you mentioned as well something around sensors. Again, is it something that you are providing internally together with the platform that you are developing, or are you working with third parties to basically bring in the knowledge about sensing in the production line, and then you do the maths and you do the fancy stuff with it?
Yeah, in terms of the sensors, we are working with third parties, such as this OEM manufacturer called Robatech. So with the hardware side, we just provide on the software. So we manage all the APIs from the OEM and we integrate it to the factory.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Any last questions? Okay, great. Let's pass over to David. I'm going to share the presentation with you, David, and you can talk about your work at the Manufacturing Technology Center, the MTC.
Yeah, just give me a sec. Okay, let me just throw the. Oh, come on. Okay, I guess you can see now the screen. Yeah.
Certainly can. Yep.
Octavio, can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, I can. MTC Advanced Visualization.
Oh yeah. So.
Okay, so basically, yeah. So I'm going to introduce myself first. Basically, well, David Varela here, technology manager for the Advanced Visualization team at the Manufacturing Technology Center in Coventry, the UK. I'm going to go quickly through who we are. So basically, we are one of the 7 high-value manufacturing catapults within the UK. And basically, what this is a government initiative to boost manufacturing within this region. That doesn't mean that we cannot operate abroad, but basically the focus is on the UK. So what technologies can we develop in here in order to basically keep manufacturing at home rather than having to outsource overseas? So what we are doing here, basically we are an independent research and technology organization. We have 4 founding members that were academia or research institutions already, but basically we become independent from them. If you look at the other high-value manufacturing catapults, for example, they are actually belonging to one of other universities within the UK, but basically we've got that freedom that sometimes is a challenge as well, because it's harder to find the talent, and they can just go to the different departments and just bring in the people. But basically for us, it's slightly more complex on that end. On the other side, we've got more freedom to operate. And we were initially set up to basically bridge the valley of death. So as you can tell from my conversation, we have strong links with academia. And what happens in here in the UK is that we have fantastic research happening at these universities, but this research normally goes only to a technology readiness level 3 or something like that. And then there is a huge gap, which is TRL 4, 5, and 6, before it actually sees the industrial side of it. So these catapults actually have been set up to help taking these technologies in early stages and accelerating them all the way up to a manufacturing readiness level that can actually be used on the shop floor. So basically, the way we operate and the financials of the MTC, basically we receive 1/3 of the income directly from the government. Then we've got another 1/3 that is actually coming from direct industrial work. So companies around the UK having challenges coming to us, and we will find a solution for them. And then the other 1/3 is actually coming from a membership that we got in here. So we work with companies like Rolls-Royce, BAE, GKN. We've got loads of technology providers around the manufacturing arena as well. And we also support SMEs. So I'm going to talk about one project that we developed that was just for that, basically. So we got people actually going on site, visiting multiple SMEs. They do a line walk, and they identify different opportunities for implementing technology for driving more efficiencies. That's, in summary, what the MTC is. Within the MTC, basically, we've got different departments. We've got 4 main themes. One of them being advanced production systems, looking into machining, fixturing, all of that. Then we've got robotics and automation, what it says in the tin. We've got all the additive manufacturing things, so 3D printing in plastics, in metals, all this type of stuff. And then we've got digital engineering. And we, as Advanced Visualization, are one of the teams working in digital engineering. So we've got also manufacturing informatics, doing analytics, AI, all this sort of stuff. We also have metrology and NDT. We got business and factory optimization, and we've got physics modeling as well within the digital arena. So the vision of the team of visualization is about delivering the future of workplace visualization. So that is about delivering experiences that actually transform how users interact with data. So actually, it's a good reference to your slide previously. So we all know that data is the key. Data is definitely the value of Industry 4.0. So basically, how do we have better experiences? How do we have a smoother? How we are more flexible, actually, accessing and delivering this type of data. We also work around future-proofing the technology. That meaning that if we want to take headsets like the that we are talking about, or this proof of concept, if you want to take it just into a pilot line, there is a lot of health and safety that you need to be taking into consideration. So all the risk assessments, method statements, potentially FMEAs as well that you have to have in place. So we are working about basically around designing frameworks and basically working around the standards as well for usability and adoption. In July this year, so basically 2 months from today, we are going to launch, in conjunction with John Moore University in Liverpool, the first user experience lab focused on AR, VR, and MR, at least here within the UK. So we are quite excited about that opportunity. And finally, we are focused on the workplace. So everything that we developed is normally pulled by some requirements from one of the sectors that we work with. So these sectors being aerospace, construction, automotive, food and drink, etc. Defense as well is quite one of the strong ones. So we are basically looking into increasing productivity, quality, or safety of users. So within the team, we basically work around 3 branches right now. The first of them being the augmented industrial worker. And what this is just putting the right information at the right time in front of the operator. So obviously, when you talk about an industrial setting, there is already a lot of tools to help to do that, like all the PLMs, the product lifecycle management, all the manufacturing execution systems, the ERPs that you were talking about. You would talk about an aerospace company, they will have at least those 3. So currently, the process for operators to actually accessing the data that it has been authored is quite clunky, and it takes some time. And sometimes actually just the fact of having to access that data, because it's compulsory for traceability, is actually adding extra time to the process of manufacturing or assembly. So what we are actually working on is designing an augmented reality platform that is able to talk to all these systems. So the way we design this platform is actually hardware and software agnostic. So you can connect virtually from a mobile phone all the way up to a HoloLens, and you can access all this data, and you can access virtually again any software platform as far as they got some type of connectivity. Some of the services that we are implementing here, I've got a couple of bad screenshots, to be honest. They are taken from the HoloLens, and it's just to show quickly basically how this interface looked like on release 1 of this application. Now, next week, actually, we're going to release phase 2, and I can promise is impressive in comparison with what you're seeing on screen. But basically what you got is one screen on the right-hand side where you receive text instruction, just mimicking exactly what an MES looks like today. And then on the left-hand side, you actually can see the overlay onto the real world of the CAD models and some instructions. So it's a typical training scenario, but this is completely connected to the backend systems. So what you see in there, the data, the CAD models, the text and everything, is not actually living on the HoloLens, it's actually living on the PLM, and that data has been already authored by a manufacturing engineer. Things that we are implementing as well within this is the integration of smart tools. So if you have NAT runners, for example, we get the configuration of the torque automatically into the tool, and we are also able to get the feedback from the tool. So all the data that is being captured is basically being fed back to the manufacturing execution system, ERP, etc., for traceability. And I'm going to move on. There is a lot more going on, but I'm going to move on. Then we're working as well around the remote XSplit. So probably all of you who tried a HoloLens gave it a go to the Skype application. Now Microsoft last week just released the remote assist application working with Teams. So basically what we are working on is developing that asset that then we can reuse, and it's just teleconferencing basically. But on top of that is adding the 3D layer, the 3D experience that you can get using HoloLens or systems like DAQRI as well. The use case that we've been using, here you see again a couple of screenshots from actually using Skype, the Skype for HoloLens, but what we have done is actually develop another layer above the Skype. So basically what is happening in Skype is, so if you're doing some data collection, like taking pictures or things like that, you can actually upload it automatically to a web app that we have designed specifically for this use case. And when I was talking about the small and medium enterprises, basically we had consultants going to visit SMEs around the UK. As you may imagine, if you are, well, we are in the middle of the country, if you need to visit a customer in the north of Scotland, basically you need to fly the day before, then you spend all the day there, and if you're lucky, you are back home on the same day, or otherwise you have to stay basically 3 days for a single visit. So what we are piloting right now is actually just sending the headset, and then is the MD or the ops director who is actually doing the walk around their shop floor, and we are providing the expert guidance from here, from the MTC. And as you can see in there as well, basically we can provide the visualization. So if the company decides that they need to invest into a new robotic cell, you can see in there how the robotic cell actually fits within their environment. And right, obviously the obvious one is about training. So we can use augmented, virtual, and mixed reality. So the platforms that we've been talking about, for example, the industrial worker, that one, it can be used in live manufacturing scenarios, but it can also be used during training scenarios. So we don't need to have an MES to drive it, so we can have other systems connected to it, and basically being able to use it for training purposes. There are a couple of screenshots that I'm showing you here. Basically, we developed an application for CPI, is the Center for Process Innovation, and is one of the 7 catapults. So it's a sister of ours, and basically they've got a clean room. That's I don't know if you've ever been in a clean room, but basically you need to get a white suit all the way up. Then you need to have masks, goggles. It's quite a clunky PPE, and then you get in and you get the air extraction system, and it makes a lot of noise. So if you want to run training for potential new investors or potential new SMEs coming into this arena of printed electronics, basically is really difficult. So what this catapult actually asked us is to develop a clean room that they could actually run on a classroom. So what is happening in here, you've got 9 different machines about this lab, and you start with a glass plate, and it's a bit of gamification basically. You get to the first machine, you have to insert some parameters. If you don't make it right, you have to start again. But if you do it right for the 8 or 9 machines, basically you end up successful with a printed circuit board. So, and then basically we are now using these technologies as well for our Advanced Manufacturing Training Center, which is another division of the Manufacturing Technology Center. And we are looking at using these technologies, all of them, within the, basically for training apprentices that are coming through the AMTC. And then basically this slide, it could be like, and we do everything else in summary. So I've got in here electronics assembly. So we have as well an augmented reality application that is connected to quality inspection machines in electronics, in an electronics assembly line. So basically, when this machine does the inspection, we access those files, and when the operator needs to do some rework, they put the PCB under a camera, and in a screen in front of them, they see exactly where they need to perform the resoldering or whatever is required. Then augmented construction worker, very similar to the industrial augmented worker, but as well, what says in the thing, fully focused on construction and building the specific tools and use cases for the construction arena. And then with the custom full stack AR, VR, MR solutions. So that means if there is anything else that we can solve, we will definitely more than happy look at it. And the last two is all about basically considering the human factors, usability, and the user experience, which is imperative for basically when you move on into pilots or potential deployments. And that's about it for me. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Well, first of all, thanks for your presentation. I was looking at the scope right now of the MTC is on the UK. Have you considered expanding that scope to Europe or even to other places?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So as I mentioned initially, the MTC has been built, to build capability within the UK, but basically we are already going overseas. So the answer is absolutely yes, absolutely yes. And in fact, we are having already some talks with people in the US and obviously in other countries around Europe.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
David, it's Mark. Just a quick question. In terms of, you mentioned kind of a number of different use cases. Which ones are you seeing kind of more traction and more interest?
So I can tell right now that the three that I spoke about, they've got, well, I would say the industrial augmented worker and the remote expert. These two definitely have the most traction because we are right now actually starting phase 3 of development of the augmented worker. So basically we received funding for 3 consecutive years to keep developing this platform. And that's just fantastic. That just shows how, the appetite of the industrial partners that are supporting us to actually move on actually into a pilot. And as I was saying before, we are moving on into a pilot with one of the MTC members now during this phase 3. So that's really good.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations. And I guess to add to that part.
Another question.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, go, please.
Okay. In terms of what are the things that are stopping you from closing your customers in terms of because you were mentioning that the SMEs or OEMs they have the problems. So mainly, what are the things that are stopping you right now when you have some kind of lead or something?
What do you mean is stopping me?
Stopping, yeah, like working with more customers.
To be honest with you, it's just the size of the people of the team that we have. Because I have actually a backlog of companies waiting to work with us, and some of the projects I had to delay them for almost 6 months because we were struggling to attract talent. And what we are seeing in the market here is if you receive a CV, you kind of have to make the offer straight away, because otherwise, you give a couple of days and that person is going to go and work already somewhere else. It's unbelievably competitive, basically the recruitment at this stage.
And on the skills you're looking for on hiring are mainly on the programming side, engineering side, or more in terms of the know-how of the industry?
Well, luckily, I must admit, we are in a very privileged position, and the know-how of the industry, we got it within the MTC, because basically we've got teams of experts focused on each market. So this group of people will actually go and work with the companies to develop technology roadmaps, to identify what the challenges are and everything else. And then they will feed all this information back to us, and we will basically react to it, as well as keeping an eye on the technology that is going on and pushing. So basically the relationship that we got with industry is a bit of push-pull, So yeah, answering to your question, what we're looking for is more the technical side.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. And so this is Mark again. Just to add to that, part of the areas for objectives, one is around educate. So I will be speaking to the members. We're doing some work with one of the few jobs boards that have come up focusing on XR roles, and we're going to be doing a kind of a dedicated AR jobs board that will be made available through the area website. And you still have to probably pay to post jobs, but we can drive a lot more focused, skilled kind of people towards that. So we're just in kind of discussions about how to implement that, and hopefully that might help a little bit. I'm not saying it's you've still only got a set of people with the skills, but at least we can try and focus the ones that have those skills to come to the area to post jobs and to look at roles. So
definitely, if they get to the area, they will know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
that's a good starting point.
Yeah,
a good filter.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Cool. Any other questions?
No, I think we're good from this side.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Devin, and thank you, Bob. We do want more people to come to the this round table. I think it's an opportunity to listen to what other companies are doing and to ask some questions. So probably on my part, I need to do a little bit more promotion of it. But I want to thank you two guys for some excellent presentations. I'll drop everyone an email and the rest of the members when they've been chopped up and made available on the website. And I wish you all a pleasant rest of the day. And for anybody, it's at AWE next week. I look forward to seeing you there. And
all right, Mark, thank you very much.
All right, thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Great, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.